When I found out about Yoku's Island Express a few weeks ago, the game immediately piqued my interest. I mean, this is the combination of an open-world adventure akin to something like Metroid, with pinball elements thrown in, all taking place on an island with multiple natural environments. I threw it on my wish list on Steam, though it is also available on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and the Nintendo Switch, but before I knew it, I was given access to an early demo and later a review copy of the game. I spent the last few days playing the game on Steam, and this is what I thought. Yoku's Island Express is a game by Villa Gorilla and Team 17, wherein he plays a dung beetle named Yoku, who is starting his new job on the island, taking over the postal duties of the island, since the old postman is leaving the island, claiming that bad stuff is happening on the island and he doesn't want to be around when things get worse. Long story short, the island deity has been attacked by an unknown god slayer, and it has become Yoku's duty to summon the chiefs of the island in order to save the deity and, by extension, the island itself. Now, it might seem kind of strange to have a dung beetle as the main playable character of a game, but it's a perfect fit here, as dung beetles are primarily known for rolling around balls of dung. Though, fortunately for us, it really just seems like Yoku's just rolling around a round rock that he is tethered to. This acts as a pinball and is a perfect fit for the island's environments, which are littered with flippers that you are in control of. I found it humorous that Yoku would just be pushing his ball around, but once the flippers and bumpers take control of the ball, Yoku is just flung around by the tether until the ball settles on a flat surface and Yoku himself gains control again. The flippers and bumpers on the island are placed in a manner that allow Yoku to navigate the island. Since Yoku is a dung beetle, he can't jump. The flippers can be used to knock the ball to different locations, allowing a totally unique method for transporting through the island. There are certain areas that more resemble an actual pinball table, complete with left and right flippers, spinners, switches, and bumpers, and these usually have you completing tasks to collect gems to unlock doors to proceed to the next area. Since this is an adventure game of sorts, there's a currency to collect, and in this game it's fruits. The fruits can be used to purchase useful items throughout the game, but primarily the fruits can be used to unlock flippers that allow access to parts of the island you didn't previously have access to, and also to activate what are called beelines, which provide quick access to parts of the island you've previously explored. Fruits usually disappear permanently once you pick them up, but by entering pinball areas, even if once explored, and performing certain tasks, like completing orbits, hitting spinners, and triggers, that can help you yield more fruit. So if you want to unlock a flipper but are low on fruit, heading to one of these areas nearby will usually get you what you need in order to proceed. Yoku will also gain new abilities as he progresses throughout the game. And let's not forget that Yoku's main job is to deliver the mail. So once you obtain the mail bag, you'll be able to deliver the mail to the empty mailboxes, which will always yield fruit. Also, an item you'll get early on is the noisemaker, which can be used to break items for more fruits, and to wake up or get the attention of other islanders, which can offer up hints or new missions. There are quite a few abilities Yoku can gain throughout the game, and I won't mention them here because I found a couple of them to be quite surprising. But as you traverse through the environments, you'll notice things that you can't access, and you'll know just later on in the game you'll get an ability that'll let you get them later. Like you'll notice fruit underwater but Yoku can't swim, or flowers that always seem to appear in near places just out of your reach. I will mention the slug vacuum though, since that's another ability earned early on in the game. There are these pink slugs that appear throughout the game, and it's explained that they explode on contact because they are in heat, and I'm not kidding, that's exactly the reason that's given for that in the game. But by getting a slug vacuum, you can attach them to your ball and use them to break open certain rocks to allow access to new areas. But the game doesn't explain everything and expects you to figure out other creative ways to use the slugs to access hidden areas on the map as well. And that's something I kinda liked about this game. It explains the bare minimum of how to play the game and leaves it up to you to discover techniques and places on your own. Though I'm not gonna lie, there was a point in the game where I felt it didn't explain enough, and I was stuck on the main story of the game for quite some time. I had one of the characters telling me I needed to access a certain place, but that place seemed totally inaccessible to me. For hours and hours, I ran around parts of the map that I could access, talking to everybody, finding a ton of hidden areas, thinking I must have missed somebody or something that would have opened up the area for me. And I was even starting to think that there was either a glitch in the game or I was missing something so obvious, and it turned out to be neither. Turned out I just needed to try a different technique with an ability I already had to get where I needed to go. No one in the game explained it, so I felt great that I was able to figure it out. But at the same time, I kind of was getting frustrated at the time, and I very nearly gave up on the game because I spent so much time not knowing what I was supposed to do. And that's going to be what I think people are going to have the hardest time with in this game. It's navigating the map, because sometimes it's not so easy to access a place that's nearby. There's a nice overworld map the game gives you, showing areas you've already visited, and even marking places you'll need to go. But even with that map, sometimes you think you're heading to where you want to go, but you'll encounter a habit trail that'll take you somewhere else completely different instead. It really takes a while to wrap your head around how to navigate the island, and you're certain to take a wrong turn here and there, but over time it can be figured out. Aside from the map being difficult to navigate at times, the game is actually pretty easy. As far as I've noticed, Yoku can't die. The worst thing he'll encounter are spiked branches that are usually just located below flippers in some of the pinball-style arenas, but he'll just lose a few fruits as he passes through them, and usually there'll be a flipper right below to pop him back up in the same area. I honestly don't know what would happen if he hit the branches without any fruit, because I've never come close to anything like that happening during my entire time with the game. Even during major battles with bosses, nothing really seems to hurt Yoku. Rather, it's about figuring out where to hit the ball and when. The pinball sections are pretty simplified as well. It's all about momentum and positioning when flipping to get the ball where you want it to go, which is how I think most people think about playing the game. Forget about advanced techniques like dead flipper passes though, since Yoku's ball won't bounce when it hits the flippers. Honestly, if I could have added anything into this game, it would be the ability to do a dead flipper pass, just because it's my natural reaction sometimes, and here it results in me losing a bit of control. In the end though, Yoku's Island Express is quite a fun game with a great visual style, a good soundtrack which is catchy in some places, and a nice lighthearted sense of humor. I mean, it's hard not to get a chuckle out of literally scaring the crap out of a bat. The game is easy enough for just about anyone to play, though navigating the map can be frustrating sometimes. Though it does make for some creative and inventive methods for navigation, and I think it's a good trade-off in the end. For someone who can figure out things easily, this game might only take 4 or 5 hours to complete if you ignore all the side missions, but for most people it might maybe take twice as long. If you love exploring in games like this and need to find everything in the game, it might take somewhere between 15 and 20 hours, and that's if you don't use a walkthrough. Once you find everything, I don't see much replayability in the game, unless you want to speedrun or experience the story again, but the story is paper thin. But I think the game is unique enough that it warrants the purchase price of $19.99, and you'll get more than a few hours of enjoyment out of the game, especially if you enjoy open world platform games like these, with a hint of pinball thrown in as well. And with that, we're going to call it a video. If you're new to the channel and you like the video, remember to subscribe. I do have a lot of pinball related videos on this channel, some of which you might even be looking at right now. Thanks for watching. See you all next time.